Mayor, we're all spread out already?
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Let me try that again. Good morning. All right. It is a beautiful, sunshiny morning here in San Jose, and we're honored to have many distinguished guests. Antes en español, buenos días a todos. Bienvenido a todos a nuestra celebración de la firma del gobernador de esta legislación histórica. Esta legislación SB7 por la autora, la senadora Toni Atkins, va a crear miles de viviendas asequibles aquí en San Jose y mucho más en toda California. Welcome all, and particularly our distinguished guests who made today possible. Welcome, Governor Gavin Newsom. Great to have you in San Jose. Our Senate Pro Tem Toni Atkins, the author of this great legislation. Assemblymember Ash Kalra and Senator Dave Cortese, so critically important as members of our delegation to push this through and over the goal line. Kent Walker, the Chief Legal Officer representing Google, is making no small investment here in our city, and we are tremendously grateful for that. Our Chair of the Caltrain Board, Dev Davis, also a colleague of mine on the San Jose City Council. We are here at San Jose's downtown train station, which represents both our past and our future. Today, this historic, quaint nexus for 5 transit systems enables folks to hop on or ride on Caltrain or the Capitol Corridor or ACE. Within months, we'll begin construction on BART to this very location, and then the expansion of this station. And yes, Governor, high-speed rail right here in San Jose. We're going to make it happen. Perhaps not tomorrow, but we're going to make it happen. But it was Chesterton who said that the only sure way of catching a train is missing the one that came before it. And in 2015, Major League Baseball refused to allow the Athletics to build a ballpark right over here, somewhere near the Dancing Pig sign, just to our south. And it was the following year that I quietly began discussions with Mark Golan over at Google about something far more transformative and far more impactful. It would be the largest private sector investment in our city's history, an urban village that would enable our community realize our collective aspirations for the creation of a vibrant downtown here in Silicon Valley's city center. And today, the details of this ambitious project have come into closer focus amid many of the challenges and crises that we face coming out of this pandemic, and of course that California has long grappled with. We have a project today that will confront our affordable housing crisis with the production of more than 4,000 high-density homes, at least 25% of which will be rent-restricted and affordable, addressing our pandemic-related unemployment with the creation of 5,700 prevailing wage construction jobs, to build an urban village of more than 7 million square feet of commercial development, something that'd be more than twice the size of Apple's world headquarters, countering climate change by maximizing the highest possible densities here around the transit station, a project that Google would construct at LEED Gold standards with a net zero greenhouse gas emissions and the development of more than 15 acres of parks, open space, and trails. And of course, as this pandemic has exacerbated our stark economic divide, this project will produce more than $1 billion in public benefits, including an unprecedented $200 million fund that Google is voluntarily committing to address anti-displacement, job training, education, and homelessness efforts. Yes, this project confronts many great challenges, and this legislation, SB7, with it defeats many of the false narratives about California and our valley, the pessimistic pronouncements and downcast declarations of the Eeyore caucus about California not being able to get red tape out of the way to make big things happen, to build the affordable housing we need, about tech somehow or another being complicit in some dystopian future that does not recognize the critical needs of equity in our communities. And so we are proving the naysayers wrong, starting today with the governor's signature on SB 7. And I'm so grateful for his strong support for equity, for jobs, and for housing in our community. And I want to thank all the folks who made this possible, starting with the author of this bill, our Senate Pro Tem, Tony Atkins, has been an incredible champion for affordable housing. I'm not sure that there's ever been a greater champion in California's Senate for affordable housing than Tony Atkins. And I'm so grateful for her work on this effort, along with her team members, Kip Lipper and Nick Hardiman. Of course, I need to thank and will absolutely thank Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been tremendous, and most recently through his historic $12 billion commitment through his May Revise to homelessness. We are grateful for his longstanding leadership and, of course, for his patience with the many mayors like myself who routinely nag him about more homeless money. I really want to thank Speaker Anthony Rendon, who stepped up in a huge way to ensure that the bill would move quickly through the Assembly, and particularly Katie Callisto and his team. Of course, our local delegation, really grateful for Assemblymember Ash Kalra, Senator Dave Cortese, who came together with other members of our local delegation to really champion this measure. And our team at the city of San Jose, an awful lot of folks working together, but just on this legislation, Alex Felton, Scott Green, and many others, Bennett Chang, want to thank them. And of course, our Office of Economic Development for leading this work, Nancy Klein, Kim Wallish, Rosalind Huey. But of course, the person I'm about to introduce is critical in all of this, and that is the team from Google and Kent Walker. We have an amazing partnership with Google. They've got a great team of folks: Mark Golan, Alexa Arena, Javier Gonzalez, Ricardo Benavides, Rebecca Prozan, Rena Davis. I am so grateful that they are partners with us in creating this incredible future for our downtown, one that is equitable, one that is inclusive, and one that creates an extraordinary amount of affordable housing, and is going to be built with the hardworking women and men of our building trades. And I saw David Beanie just a minute ago, and Gene Cohen. Thank you very much for your work, your leadership on this effort. And of course, to Robbie Hunter, who really worked incredibly hard statewide to ensure this bill would have strong support from our hardworking women and men who are going to build this great project. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Kent Walker, Chief Legal Officer at Google. Google's investment is certainly historic, but what's even more historic is their awareness, their consciousness, their willingness to absorb the obligation to do more for our community rather than simply put up buildings and make profits. We understand Google gets it. They've demonstrated that through extensive engagement with our community, with thousands of our community members, through hundreds of meetings. Thank you, Kent, and to the Google team.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Governor, President Pro Tem Atkins, and everybody else that the mayor has already thanked. You may not remember, Mr. Mayor, but the last public event we did was actually with you announcing the National 3-Run-1 Day just before the lockdown. So I'm delighted to be anywhere in person today, but particularly here. As you can hear from the background noise, we are in the middle of a transit hub, which is where good planning should put projects like this. The fact that we can all come together in this way, the government agencies, the labor groups, the community groups, and business, is a real testament to how California does get it, how we can work together on these new class of projects that bring the whole community forward. And we're very excited about SB 7. The leadership and the bill drafted by President Pro Tem Atkins and supported by so many here has been critical in this next chapter. If this project is approved, and we're hopeful that it will be one of a kind. It will be not only a new project for us, but a new chapter in equitable economic development. So the opportunities that come from more jobs, more housing, more space for small business will be a model, we hope, for communities around the state. If approved, the project will have 0 greenhouse gas emissions, 15 acres of parks and open spaces, and a next generation green infrastructure that'll highlight the economic potential of environmentally responsible development. So it's been an honor to work with all of the different groups through many, many meetings, but many constructive steps that we've taken together to be able to reach agreement on these key issues. As a result, you've heard the mayor talk about the notion that not only more housing, but 25% affordable housing, a first-of-a-kind stabilization and opportunity fund that helps support the idea of equitable growth. And obviously, this project qualifying as an environmental leadership project under SB 7 is a critical element of that. As we start to bring our employees back to our offices throughout the state, throughout the country, we are looking forward to investing more in California, more than $1 billion we've recently announced in new investment in offices throughout the states. California's our home state. We want to invest throughout the United States, but we have a special love and affection for California and a belief that California can enable the next generation of innovation. So thanks to all of you here today for your leadership, your partnership, and allowing us to be part of the community. We're well on the way to the economic recovery, and we look forward to working with all of you in the years to come. With that, I'll turn it over to President Atkins.
Thank you, Kent. I'm Assemblymember Ash Kalra. It's great to have everyone here in Assembly District 27. What an exciting day. What an exciting moment that really just took years and years of work by so many to bring us to this day. And when we think about the opportunity that we have before us, particularly in terms of the kinds of jobs and having David Beeney and Gene Cohen here, the Building Trades and Labor Council, to think about the thousands of not just quality jobs that are going to create quality products, but the quality of life that that creates when you think about the families that that's going to support. In addition to the ongoing jobs that are going to be created, not just by Google, but by the development of commercial property, retail. It's extraordinary to think about the opportunity that's being created here today by the signing of this legislation and subsequently approval, pending approval in the City Council. Now, I want to thank everyone that's made this day possible. And I want to start with the community. For 4 years, Working Partnerships USA has led a community-driven effort that Google, frankly, could have not engaged with, but Google did the opposite. And I'm really grateful that Google stepped in right away, working with Working Partnerships, working with the mayor and city council and saying, what are you going to bring to the table if we say yes to you coming into our community? And Google responded. They not only answered the community, but they've answered the community in a way that no other company has in the history of this country. If you think about the amount of community benefits coming into the neighborhood, and now this is going to be community benefits that is going to be overseen by community members on top of the funds for affordable housing, on top of the amount of affordable housing coming into this community. And so we see a public-private community partnership unlike any other that we've seen, certainly in this region, and I would say in this state. However, this has been a long journey to also get it through the legislative process. And I really want to thank someone that there's no one more committed and no more persistent on creating housing opportunities, on pushing for affordable housing than our Senate President Pro Tem, Toni Atkins. And I just want to express my appreciation for her and her commitment to this. It wasn't easy. She could tell you that. It wasn't easy to get it through, but having someone like Senator Dave Cortese stepping in right at the right time, understanding this community better than anyone, was incredibly valuable to get it over to the Assembly side. On behalf of Speaker Rendon, I want to express gratitude from the Speaker in the partnership to get it over to the Assembly. And of course, I want to thank our Speaker for making sure we got it through in a timely fashion so we can be here today. And I want to thank our Mayor, Sam Liccardo, who every step of the way, whether it's internally here, working with the community, or making sure that we knew what was happening in Sacramento to make sure we were pushing things along. Mayor Liccardo also made sure that this was always a priority to ensure that we weren't going to let this opportunity slip by. And finally, I want to thank our governor. I can thank him for a lot of things today, frankly, after the year we've had. And as we head into this summer, I'm so excited about San Jose and about the reopening and the opportunities. That would not be possible without the governor and his team making sure we tackle this pandemic head on. And we see some of the greatest successes in terms of infection rates, vaccines we see in the whole nation because of Governor Gavin Newsom. But the reason why we're here today is because the governor sees a big, bold vision for our state. And it happens not in Sacramento. It happens in communities, one project at a time, one city council at a time. That's how we build a bold future for our state. And it's Governor Gavin Newsom that is leading us towards that future. And that's why I'm so grateful for him being here, for him seeing San Jose for its potential, and for putting his signature where his mouth is in terms of making sure we have the opportunity to create the San Jose that I know we all believe in. So thank you all so much.
Well, thank you all very much for being here and helping to get the word out. First and foremost, of course, thank you to the governor and to the leader of the California State Senate. We've heard her accolades mentioned already, and I just want to say something to those of you who are from San Jose or been from San Jose over the years. We've had some great mayors, and I appreciate so much Mayor Liccardo leading the charge here in this particular area and keeping his eye on the ball. The late, great Mayor Susan Hammer used to say when you would approach her and see her at an event like this and ask her how things are going in the city of San Jose, she would say, great things are happening in the city of San Jose. And I am so reminded in my 4.5 months or so in the California State Senate of those words almost every week, because our President Pro Tem, Senator Toni Atkins, says the same thing, and she's right. Great things are happening in the state of California, and over the last 4.5 months alone, just this calendar year, there's been perhaps more legislation that has changed and transformed the face of this state than ever before in any other 4.5 month period in the state of California. That's thanks to our governor. That's thanks to our leadership in the state Senate and our leadership in the state assembly. So I want to acknowledge them, but I also know that at some point you'll be looking back at this period of time saying, wow, who knew that the legislature, the governor of this state could get that much work done, again, to change the landscape of the state in such a short period of time. And we're not done. We're not done. We know we're not done because we just saw the governor's revised budget and $100 billion that's going to be invested on top of what you've already seen thus far in the state of California. This bill, authored by our Senate Pro Tem, I'm proud to be a co-author of, will build on the successes of AB 900 and tackle many of the greatest challenges we face as a state. Climate change, our housing crisis, recovering from the current economic crisis brought on by the pandemic. All of those issues will be positively impacted by SB 7. This bill will provide a tremendous infusion of green jobs and energy efficient housing across the state, streamlining administrative paperwork, expediting legal challenges for sustainable economic development projects that can truly transform a community through permanent job creation, housing, and affordable housing production, and environmental leadership. Here in Santa Clara County alone, SB 7 will bring 5,700 prevailing wage construction jobs, as well as long-term on-site jobs, and 4,000 much-needed housing units to our community, 25% of which will be affordable. Right here, next to Diridon Station, through climate-smart, integrated, and efficient infrastructure. And as the mayor said, the station itself will be transformed as part of all of this. I want to pause for a moment and thank the mayor and the city council, particularly for working with our brothers and sisters in labor to make sure that the people that do this work get paid prevailing wages, living wages, and have the workforce protections that they need to survive in one of the highest cost of living areas in the state of California. These new jobs and units will seamlessly integrate into our world-class public transit corridor, one of the busiest transit hubs on the West Coast, served by 7 major transit systems. That's all coming together now as we speak. Again, as a proud co-author of this bill, I want to thank you again, Governor Newsom, for signing the bill into law. Nothing happens without your signature. We all know that. We thank you for investing not only in this community, but again, in our prosperity throughout the state of California. Thank you so much. And now it gives me great honor and privilege for my first time at an event like this to introduce someone I have great respect for, who's doing just a tremendous job. Our Senate President Pro Tem, Toni Atkins. Please welcome her. Thank you.
Well, good morning. It is so great to be back in San Jose. And Governor, thank you for making this possible today. My good friend, Mayor Sam Liccardo, thank you. And Senator Cortese, thank you. He got elected and quickly became part of our housing lead group, helped us to get this done and back over to the Assembly. I have to add my thanks to my legislative partner, Speaker Rendon, for getting it to us quickly. So a lot has been said, and I want to thank the speakers who talked a lot about what this bill does. But I recognize I stand between the governor and the bill signing, and that is what we're here to do. So I will just say very quickly, this is the outgrowth of California's effective AB 900 program that ended in January, leaving a big question mark for a lot of vital projects like this one. Thank you to Google and to those here locally that made this project a priority along with your mayor and the council. Today, with SB 7 becoming law, we answer that question mark with some big exclamation points. More jobs, more business, more affordable housing. I saw the potential in AB 900 10 years ago when I voted for it to help California recover from the Great Recession then. AB 900 projects are estimated to have created thousands of new high-wage construction jobs, permanent jobs, and 10,000 new housing units. I'm going to add my thanks to all of the staff in the Assembly, the Senate, the governor's office, Jason, for helping to get us here today. So what I would also add, this is important. This is really important for our economic recovery. And this is going to keep us moving. And it is a great day and it is a good time, despite the challenges, despite the pandemic. So I'm going to wrap it up and turn it over to the governor. But, today, I think what I'm thinking of today would have been my father's 93rd birthday today. And some people who know me know that he was a lead miner and a coal miner in Southwest Virginia. He was also a construction worker and a building trades worker. And as I look at our friends in labor, and thank you for helping to get this bill moving forward again this year to be part of our housing package. This is an economic development tool, but it's also part of a housing package that we have in the Senate that Senator Cortese has worked on. There are other bills in the Assembly that your Assembly member has been pushing and working on. This is an effort between the governor, the executive branch, the Assembly, the Senate, and the community and business to get it done. So all of us are here today. I am so honored to be thinking of my dad today as I look at our friends in labor who are here and I look at that crane across the street and know what this means for this community and for the state of California. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Governor Gavin Newsom with my incredible thanks for his tenacity and his making this a priority once that bill came out of the Assembly and we were able to get it done. He was ready to sign it. He was ready to sign it the day that it passed out of the legislature. And so we wanted to take a minute to celebrate this community, and I can't think of a better place and a better project in which to do it. So let me turn it over to our leader, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. It's I don't know that I have much to add to everything that has been said, but I want to just express, most importantly, my deep gratitude to every one of the speakers that you heard from, but most notably the Pro Tem for extraordinary leadership. It's not an exaggeration at all, and I appreciated the recognition by a number of members of the legislature and the mayor of the pro tem's leadership, not stewardship, her leadership on affordable housing here in the state of California. And this is just another demonstrable proof point of that and another example of that leadership. And one of the things that makes me most proud is the partnerships that she was able to form throughout this process. To be here, David, with you and your team, to have the strong support of Robbie Hunter and the building construction trades all up and down the state of California, have the environmental community backing up this effort, to see the remarkable support across the spectrum up in the Assembly and the Senate, the Speaker's leadership, to be here with Google and the incredible private sector investment and the faith and devotion into the future of this city and this region and this state is exactly where we want to be. And it's why we are here. In fact, the pro tem was not exaggerating at all. We were ready to sign this about 20 minutes after I got it. We were on a scheduled Zoom call. I said, I've got this ready to sign, but it doesn't feel right on a Friday to bury this. We need to come out and we need to celebrate this, because this bill deserves attention. Because this bill, and Kent, thank you for highlighting this. This bill is about the investment in the future of the state of California. This bill is about our comeback. This bill is about our renewal. This bill is about our grit, our tenacity. This bill represents the best of California. Our values are part and parcel of this package, this effort to reform, to sequence investment with a little bit more predictability, with a little bit more certainty, to recognize the value of private sector investment and the time value, Kent, of money and that investment, to recognize the world we're living in. In so many ways, the world we invented now is competing against us. Other states are making the case that we are making here today with this legislation. We need to step up our game. We need to recognize that we need to do more and do better to curry these kinds of investments. 25,000 plus permanent jobs just on this site, 5,700 jobs, as the senator said correctly, just in the construction of this site. 7.3 million square feet of commercial space, 500,000 of retail space. This 15 acres, Kent, thank you for highlighting that, of plaza and open space. The certification in terms of the LEED Gold standard, the emphasis now here, Sam Liccardo, your mayor, as he reminds me, they, not just San Francisco, you have the Grand Central Station on the West Coast as well, here at this remarkable transit center. And with BART and high-speed rail, yes, it will eventually connect Valley to Valley. We will get that done here in the state of California. It just reinforces this moment in our history. So I'm very grateful. I'm very proud as a Californian, obviously as governor, incredibly proud to be here, to have the privilege of signing this legislation. I'm so thankful to the senator and the assembly member for their strong support and their strong advocacy, to city council. Look forward to that vote on Tuesday, the last hurdle. Always mindful as a former council member of sorts, the importance of those decisions. And again, no substitute for great mayors. And you got one here in San Jose, and he knows that because I brag on him privately and publicly all up and down the state of California. And so, Sam, it's really a great gift to be here with you as well. And so, with no further ado, let's sign this legislation to answer any questions. And again, thank you, Google, for making this historic investment. With that, let's all socially gather around, recognizing our updated guidelines that came out a few weeks ago. So I got a fancy pen. Is this the same? All right, it's just one. All right, let's do this. All right, we'll do the fake photo first. All right, now sign. There we go. Thank you guys. Done.
Bravo, Governor.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Both.
Thank you.
Very grateful. With that, we are all here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you again to the Pro Tem for this privilege and for this opportunity to have her here joining us on this historic signing. With that, any questions?
Hi, Governor Newsom, Chris Wynn from ABC 7 News in San Francisco. We know there's a need for affordable housing, but I would like to ask, do you have any concerns about these projects being constructed during a drought, given the amount of resources that are needed to build them?
No, I think we can accommodate construction and investment in housing and affordable housing, particularly housing with an environmental consciousness like this, housing that's focused on density and infill, housing that's focused on incomes at all levels, including the set aside here for 1,000 of the 4,000 housing units to be set aside for affordable around transit corridors. If there's any kind of housing that should be built in the state of California, it's exactly the kind of housing that we're celebrating here today that's being promoted by this project. So this is, from my humble perspective, if you were going to list the top 10 investments in sustainable housing development in a state like California that is struggling with so many of Mother Nature's challenges, it is this project. So this is the example we hope others will model up and down the state.
Governor, this is Carla Marinucci from Politico. You've talked about a carrot and the stick with regard to housing, your efforts to get more affordable housing here in California. This is obviously a carrot situation. What about the stick for communities, upscale communities like Piedmont, for instance, that have not moved anywhere on this? What's your plan on that?
Well, we've been aggressive. I got in here 28 months ago. One of the first acts I did was suing one of the cities, state of California. You want to assure you're not particularly popular when a governor sues one of the cities that I'm responsible for supporting and governing, but I did it on the basis of the need for more investment in housing and focusing on what we refer to in vernacular as the housing element in the state of California. That said, we also have been there historically with incentives. As you say, it's not just sticks, it's also carrots to help with infill grants, to help with planning dollars, to help with zoning, including this year, to your question, a specific proposal to the legislature to create a new housing accountability unit, which will provide even more access, more measurement and transparency into the housing elements and to our RENA goals, as they're referred to in the vernacular Sacramento, all up and down the state of California. So that's a proposal that's for consideration of the legislature, and it's one we feel very strongly is important. It's one that's overwhelmingly, by the way, supported by most local officials that want to see that support from the state, not just a closed fist, but an open hand. We're all in this together. State vision for housing construction is realized at the local level. At the end of the day, we can't do it from Sacramento. It has to be done somewhere in the state of California. And this project, including the projects that will benefit from this legislation, of which there are many. If you go down to LA and Hollywood, there's a project that was waiting for this signature. A hospital down in Southern California is waiting for this signature. The opportunity now to lower the threshold. One of the things that's in SB 7 that's not gotten the attention I hope it deserves, that distinguishes it from the previous bill that sunsetted, that now is being extended for 5 years, is a lower threshold for lower investments, meaning no longer projects at 100 million, but now projects as low as 15 million, and expanding the scope of those projects that can get the benefits of these expedited procedures, more certainty. And that includes not just sports stadiums, but also commercial, retail, green energy projects, not just housing projects up and down the state. So this has far-reaching impact beyond just this particular project. And I think it's very meaningful in allowing us to fast track and move forward in the spirit of collaboration to develop more housing down the state.
And Governor, if I could follow up on that question, Senator Cortese mentioned your budget and how that may help with future housing projects. The legislative analyst, as you know, challenged your $76 billion surplus figure, saying that's only half that big, and has suggested maybe the legislature should delay approval and not rush into wasteful spending, quote unquote. Your response to that?
Yeah, we have $75.7 billion more than we had projected. I made it clear when we announced the surplus that we have set-asides under Prop 2 and we have set-asides under Prop 98, and announced actually the day of the surplus in a press conference in the East Bay that it was $38.1 billion. So I think we're completely aligned with the LAO in terms of the analysis, remarkably aligned, the Department of Finance. As it relates to that surplus, it also does not include the $75.7 billion, doesn't include $27 billion in the federal government. That's why we often refer to this $100 billion comeback plan. I think the people of California care deeply about investments in education, care deeply about investments in paying down debt and providing more support for our rainy day funds. That's why we're all inclusive. As it relates to historic investments that we can make in housing and homelessness, and preschool, after school programs, summer programs, I think a lot of people are counting us to move with intentionality because we're not out of the woods yet. We're in a recovery mode. There are a lot of people struggling and suffering, a lot of people that are looking for more supports, a rebate, $12 billion proposal on a tax rebate, largest in American history, proposal to provide more supports for tenants to keep them in their housing units in peril of not being able to pay the rent, particularly when the moratorium on rent expires. We have people that are insecure around their ability to pay gas and utility bills as well as water bills. All of those are part and parcel of the budget proposals. And I know there's a lot of extraordinary ideas coming from the Senate, their leaders, as well as the Assembly and their leaders. And we look forward to working together and adjudicate those issues and nuances as we do every year in the spirit of collaboration and in the spirit, in closing, that Senator Cortese just advanced. And that is this remarkable spirit of collaboration that he rightfully recognized is almost historic in the work that has been done between the legislature and the executive branch in the last 4.5 months. He's absolutely right to move forward with urgency a lot of critical programs and investments because the people of California deserve nothing less.
Hi, thank you, Governor. Lloyd Alavan from San Jose Spotlight. So, as you may remember, you and the mayor showed up last year at the Bernal emergency housing site to, praise it and about these housing sites. And as an investigation that we've done at San Jose Spotlight, found that at this site there's several wage theft allegations as well as several allegations of unsafe working conditions. And now that we're on the cusp of another large affordable housing project, how are you going to ensure that allegations like these don't crop up here at Google West?
Well, I'll take advantage of being here with your mayor, talk a little bit more specifically about this local project, and we can talk more broadly about the statewide efforts as it relates to those issues.
Yeah, thank you for the question. The city brought forward charges, civil charges against that contractor, and we expect to very strongly enforce the rules here in the city and in the state to ensure that every worker is paid a fair wage and what they're due. There's no question in my mind, based on what I've seen, that a contractor failed to pay workers what they were due. And we are going to do everything we can in the city of San Jose locally. And we're going to work with state enforcement as well to ensure that doesn't happen again. But I think it's very important to recognize that these are not the result of actions in any way attributable to the state or the governor. There's nothing that the governor or the state did that enabled that. To the contrary, they have very clear rules and they have an enforcement mechanism and a team that we're working with to ensure this doesn't happen again.
Not much more I can add on that, except you take all of these things very, very seriously and you hold folks to account, period, full stop.
Final question.
Governor Lou Hanson from the Mercury News. Thanks for coming today. Housing prices, median housing prices in California are at record levels. There's anticipation that new construction is going to fall in coming years. What do you say to the Californians who are saying there's a better place out of state? And how do you keep this migration from happening? What kind of message can you tell them?
Well, I mean, there's no better state in America, period, full stop. This state is special in every way, shape, or form. Not only we're the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy, but this is a state that practices pluralism. It's a universal state. It's a state of dreamers and doers. It's a state that dominates in more industries than any other state in America, more engineers, scientists, researchers, Nobel laureates in this state than any other state in America. The state has already enjoyed 99 IPOs year to date, 99 year to date. Eat your heart out, all those other states that seem to get more attention from your readers than others. We've had record-breaking venture capital last year in the state of California. Fact. #1 innovation state in America, according to the Bloomberg Innovation Index that just came out. Fortune magazine, Time magazine just did 2 articles, top 100 fastest growing companies and the top 100 most influential companies in the world. California dominating in that space. The venture capital coming out of the state of California, you look at the next 4 states combined, and by a multiple of 2, we have more venture capital emanating out of this state than any other state. We had record-breaking startups last year in the state of California, went up 21.7%. We're putting unprecedented investment back into the economy, rebates, tax rebates, investments into housing, unprecedented investments into housing. This announcement today is a demonstrable proof point of our commitment to housing at all income levels and partnering with companies, private companies all across the state of California to make investments in this state. So I'm not just long the state of California, I'm really proud of this state. And those that write our obituary, and they've done so about every 7 to 10 years, are proven wrong over and over and over again. And once again, they'll be proven wrong about their current assessment. California is not coming back. California is roaring back. With that, maybe the last question. Thank you all for the privilege of this opportunity to be here with you. And